Welcome back. Today I am featuring this nice antique wooden sewing cabinet that I got today actually. Now, over the years, I have been slowly upgrading all of my furniture to more older antique wooden pieces that I know that I can maintain myself and that I know will last a lifetime. I have been looking for a sewing cabinet like this for over a year now, but I just haven't found the right one, or if I did find something that was nice, it was either too expensive or too far away. And in most cases, the owner doesn't want to ship something big like this, and I also don't want to pay a lot of money if it's not of good enough quality as well. But recently, I found this in my area and I picked it up today. I think it looks great. Now, the lady that sold me this, she was actually very sorry to see it go because it did belong to her grandmother and she had to let it go because she was moving from her home to a smaller apartment. So she didn't have space for it anymore, so she sold it to me and I told her that I would take care of it and it would come to a home where it would be appreciated. So this is what I want to do with this. I want to surface treat the whole thing and give it a little bit of a makeover and just get rid of some of this worn out lacquer at the top. It is a bit beat, I must say, but it is of good enough wood. I think the majority is birch. Maybe this is something else and maybe this is something else, but it looks to be of good enough quality that I can resurface this and then add maybe a nice darker shade like my wheels back there. I'm not quite sure yet, but it definitely needs some love and there is definitely possibilities to do a really nice surface treatment in the inside because this raw wood, it's never been treated and it's actually really nice and clean. There are a few marks, but nothing that a little sanding won't take away. But before I can do any of that, then I need to disassemble the whole thing and mark all of the pieces so that I'm able to assemble it exactly how it should go. And that's that. I think my favorite part of this whole thing, it's the legs and the handle here. They look so elegant. I have now labeled everything, so it's now a matter of taking everything apart. And while I was labeling, I did notice from before, but I had a closer look at this lid here. It's a little bit bent upwards, so it doesn't close nicely flat. I have to think about how or if I'm going to fix that at some point. Maybe I will, I'm not quite sure yet, but I think that after I disassemble everything, I will begin from bottom up. That way I can start putting everything together as I go, and then this piece here will probably be the last one. I could probably use some machine tools for this, but I would rather not. So I've taken everything apart now and I've put the extra small pieces just inside of those so that I don't lose them. And I think I'm gonna start on this first. I really like to see these markings in the original piece. You can tell whoever built this, their logic behind their assembly. It's fun. While disassembling this, I realized that I really like the patina on the handle here, and I think I want to try to recreate this same shade and the same smoothness and effect on the whole cabinet. I think it's doable. It's just gonna take a bit of layering and buffing out, but that's the goal. I'm going to leave it at that for today. The next step will be to start on the bottom part here, and also I will try to mix some of my wood tints to see if I can achieve the same color as the handle. I think it's doable. I mean, my wheel over here, it's almost the same color, and that was just random coats that I had put, so I think I can do this. I should be doing this step outside just to contain the dust, but it's cold and it's wet and it's miserable and I don't want to wait any longer. So I will do the scraping in this room and hopefully it won't be that dusty. If it ends up being that dusty, then I'll have to wait and move this operation elsewhere. But let's give it a go. I will mask. I've been sanding for weeks now. It's just been on and off, and I've been trying to do everything outside when I can, but it's not been that easy and it's taken a while. But now I'm at a stage where I can finally start treating the surfaces. So I think the weather is nice enough that I can do that today, or at least start. I know I'm not going to finish. But a few reflections before I continue. First of all, remember when I was trying to be all smart and I labeled all of the pieces, like the front and the back and what went where? Well, I lost track of that. So yeah, sure, I can assemble it, but wow. I need to do that differently next time. Maybe I should have done it like the original maker of the box where they put little markings in the inside, but I just didn't want to have any more markings in there. So that was that. The coating that they put on the top, some sort of lacquer, it was really hard to come off, especially on the top section, because it was a very thick layer compared to all the other sections. And they also added it to the hinges, which ended up being teak actually, and it's very porous, so it was very hard to sand any of that out. And there's still some residue there, but I'm just gonna leave it as is. And the knobs were hard because they're round and some of them were glued, so I need to do the detail work later on those. But more or less, I'm ready to start treating this. I have multiple options. I do have multiple tints, like wood tints that are already ready to go. For example, what I used in my Kromsky wheel, it's an alcohol-based dark brown tint. So I could use that, but I have decided not to. I think I'm just gonna do multiple layers and try to get a nice antique looking finish. And I'm not gonna treat it with shellac or anything like that. I think I'm just gonna buff it out with beeswax. But the first layer that I will start with, it's a vinegar solution with steel wool, and I'm just gonna rub that in to see if the grain shows up a bit better. But I will have to do a test part, that's the thing. But I think I will start with that, and then once I finish treating it with that, I will do a very light wash of a light brown color and then see where I'm at. But that's the thing with this project, it's just going to take a while to get the layering that I want. I'm not quite sure how this is going to end up. But that's the nice thing about natural treatments. I can always sand it off a bit if I don't like it, and then I'll just do a test swatch on the back part or on the bottom part of the drawers, maybe. Well, that was a process. I have been out there for a few hours now. My initial intention was to stop at that one layer of treatment with the vinegar and the steel wool. I did get like this very light brownish color to it, but then I also wanted to see if I could get a deeper color with hints of red with another round of the same treatment. And so I gave it a go. I basically let the steel wool sit in the vinegar solution for a bit longer time just to get it to corrode a bit and become a bit reddish brown, and then I used that to buff the whole thing out. And so I got this very beautiful brownish color with hints of red here and there. It's great. I really like how that looks. I actually have a wood tint that mimics that color, but now I was able to achieve the same effect with just one method, and that's great because by doing this you also use the steel wool to buff it out, to sand it a bit, so then the surfaces are a lot smoother and a lot more pleasant. So that was a plus. Now I do have to let the whole thing dry and I have to see what final color I get. I also have to wipe everything down with a wet cloth and most likely give it a sanding with the finest sandpaper I have. But that will be another round for another day. I have to let everything dry now and I have to let the vinegar evaporate and then see where I'll take it from. I have been adding layers of wax for the past few days, and now I'm at a stage where I'm actually very happy with the whole piece. I have actually assembled the whole thing, and the only thing I'm missing, they're furniture pads at the bottom. I do have normal ones, like plastic store-bought ones, but I thought since I have this scrap leather, I could just cut it to shape and then glue it in there, and I think it will be a bit more permanent solution than those plastic ones that either tend to fall off or just the cushion, it just wears off and it's not that nice. So I think this will be a little bit more long term, and I have plenty of it and I need so little of it for the actual legs. So I want to do that today so that I can start filling in the whole cabinet. Other than that, I've had a bit of a hard time with some of the sections on the cabinet, in particular one of the lids. Now, one of the lids had so much lacquer on it and it was really hard to scrape and sand off. And when I was adding layers of wax to this and polishing it off with the steel wool, I realized that the previous owner, they must have put something else in addition to the wax, not the wax, in addition to the lacquer, because whatever they did, it went so deep into the wood that I had a really hard time taking it off. It doesn't take any, the wood doesn't take any pigment and it barely takes in any of the wax. I don't know what it is, and I was scraping pretty hard, so it looks uneven. And it will just have to be that way. I mean, it is an antique piece, and older pieces like this, they have history. I mean, if I wanted to do it all perfect, I should have gotten a new piece, right? So it'll just have to be that way. Anyway, let's get to the furniture pads. Oh, and I didn't check this before disassembling this, but look, it doesn't open. You have to open this up like this before you can open the lid. I'm not quite sure if this is how it was before I got it. I don't remember, or if I've just somehow assembled this skewed. I don't think so. This lid is in itself a bit bent, so I think it was like that already. So yeah, that was not ideal, but it's an easy fix. Anyway, this one opens fine. Let's fill this up. I've emptied a bunch of boxes here and tidied up my workbench as well, and now everything's gone neatly in the cabinet. On this side, I've just added all of my random sewing stuff, bunch of thread and needles, buttons, zippers. In the center, I just decided to add all of my card weaving stuff. Maybe I'll use this for something else, but for now, it's going in there. And then I thought it would be nice to put all of my leather stuff here. Some beeswax, some small tools, hole punchers, that sort of thing. And now I forgot to do this now that I see it. I need to file that off. I had to... No, these are the original nails. These are the original, not nails, well, I can't speak. These are the original screws from the piece, but they're protruding. So I think I should file that off maybe. Or maybe if I add a piece of leather here so I don't poke myself. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Anyway, that's what it looks like. And that was that. I do have to say that this was a rather challenging piece in that it took a long time, mostly because it has multiple layers of history. It is an old piece, but I got to a point where I'm actually very happy with the color and the finish, and most importantly, it's functional. I managed to sort out all of my things, clear out some of my work areas, and then just put everything in this box. And it looks great. It starts to match all of my other random old furniture that I'm just trying to maintain, and I can see that I have this sort of dark wood theme going on with both of my spinning wheels, now with this sewing cabinet, with this other table I have in this room, and also this chair here. So slowly but surely, I will try to replace all of my furniture with nicer older pieces that I can maintain myself and make them into my own. Maybe somebody will inherit these in the future and they'll be angry at the choices that I've made. Anyway, thank you for watching. See you next time.